Do you have an inner critic? You know, that little voice in your head that plagues you and bugs you constantly? What does it sound like? Is it demoralizing, criticizing, judging? Well, what if I told you that there was a way that you could demolish that little voice forever? Welcome, powerful souls. And if you just heard powerful souls and thought, she's not talking to me, well, then yes, I'm especially talking to you. I have been on the other side, so I know, not just believe, the power that you are. You are powerful beyond measure, and I am so glad you're here today. My name is Laurie Majka. So let's get back to the inner critic I was referring to earlier. So, in your childhood, you may have been told things that weren't true. You may have been told things like you weren't worthy, that you were stupid, and that you didn't feel the love that you really needed. And when I didn't have that, luckily, as a child, but I know a lot of people do suffer from that. And then those little recordings play in their mind again and again and follow them throughout their lives. Well, when I had children, I remember reading something about how you were to scold a child, and you were never to tell them that they were stupid, but you could tell them the action that they just did, jumping off of the porch and breaking their leg was stupid. And when I heard all that, it really shifted something in me. And I realized that I was probably being a critic to myself and telling myself things that really weren't true, and telling myself things that were more about me and not about the actions and the things that I didn't like. And something happened in my 30s, and I really began to shift this. And I shifted it to such a degree that now that I'm in my 50s, I never, ever, ever find myself saying something about myself, about something I've done. So we do stupid things all the time, of course, but it doesn't mean that we are stupid or that we are not worthy. And it's really important that you recognize if this is something that you are doing within your head. Do you have this monologue that you go through when things happen? So, for example, if you were to get into an accident, would you immediately begin berating yourself and telling yourself that you were such a terrible driver? Or would you be more kind in your thoughts and just understand that although it sucks that this happened and you wrecked your car, that you don't berate yourself? And that's really where I want you to be able to get, is to that point where you're not criticizing these actions and these things in your head, and you're not tearing yourself down, but instead you're giving yourself grace and you're embracing your humanness and understanding that things happen. And as I got better and better at this, one of the things that I noticed is that although I no longer was an inner critic to myself, I did have some things that I wanted to work on. And one of them was that it always seemed that whenever you're in a hurry, like you've got a place to go, that something would happen. You would drop a glass of water all over the floor and you knew you couldn't just leave it. So you had to stop what you were doing. And I used to always exclaim, sometimes out loud, I don't have time for this. Well, even that is something that I've gotten better and better at letting go. Because one of the secrets I want to tell you is that the universe is actually conspiring for you. And your thoughts are so powerful that whatever you're sending out is what you're attracting back to yourself. And by telling myself I didn't have time for this, I was probably not embracing the fact that maybe I was being protected in some way. And there was a reason that I was being slowed down. And I want to share a story of something that I had covered along those lines. So my girlfriend Stacy invited me to go to the pool, and I had these really nice pool blow-ups, and I told her I'd bring a couple of them, and they were in my backyard and I needed to go out and put them in my car. And I had gotten a little bit behind, and now I was in a hurry and I was rushing, and I grabbed both of these long pool floaties, the ones that you would lay on that your whole body fits on. And as I'm pulling it through my house, the tail end of it hits my end table and breaks this beautiful ceramic cup that I absolutely loved. Oh my gosh, I was devastated that I had broken this. I mean, I love it so much that I actually still have a piece of it. And I had to stop and clean it up. And I was just so upset with myself that I had been so careless and in such a hurry that I had knocked this off. But because I was in a hurry, there was something inside me that clicked and said, is there a reason that you were slowed down? Was there a reason you weren't supposed to be in a hurry? And as I had this in my mind, after I'd finished cleaning everything up and had the pool float safely in the car, I got in my car and I took a breath and I realized and I said to myself, you're right where you're supposed to be. And then I began backing the car up. And because I was in this state of I'm right where I'm supposed to be, I became hyper aware that my next door neighbor had their grandchildren over and their grandchildren were playing on their little tricycle bikes in our street, which is a cul-de-sac, so safe place to play, but not very safe if the driver next door comes flying out of their driveway in their car into the street without looking or paying much attention. And as soon as I saw that, I realized that if I had been on that path where I was in such a hurry before, that I might not have been as careful when I was backing out as I was before when I was in such a hurry. And it really was a great lesson to remind us that usually when things happen, they're for our greater good. And that even though we may not be able to connect the dots like I did, you need to be able to tell yourself that you're right where you belong. Please like and subscribe. It really helps this channel to grow so I can bring you more content. Thank you for watching. I'm so glad you're here.